host, Michael Chang. And it is actually my great pleasure to welcome my friend, Federico Zimmerman, to the show and his dog in the background.
I
Hey, Fetty,
know.
how are you?
Sorry about that. He just started. I mean, he's been quiet for an hour, and now he heard something or something.
No
Sorry about
worries,
that.
no worries. How you doing?
Good, and you, Mike?
I'm doing well, doing well. Fetty and I go way back, and I'm really happy to have him on the show today. For you guys watching live on LinkedIn and on YouTube, definitely submit your questions, and we'll try to hit them on the show. Fetty, why don't I give you a moment to just introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Federico Zimmerman, we're a short-term rental operator. I have a management company with around 65 properties across the U.S. We're in. I have my map over here, but we're around 12 different states at the moment. So doing a lot of remote management, and I've been doing this for 3 years, full-time short-term rental. I started hosting in 2017 in my spare bedroom back in Argentina in my apartment. But yeah, super passionate about hospitality and everything around running a business as well. So
And we're going to talk. And you forgot your most important partner, your wife, who we're going to hit on. We're going to hit on as well.
absolutely.
Um, for folks that don't know Fetty, he is one of the best property managers that I've met in the last 8 years.
Appreciate it.
I don't give this compliment or title lightly. It's a very difficult job, and finding someone that really can solve problems for you and be reliable is very, very hard to find. And Fede really exhibits that in spades. So if you're listening right now, like, and you have a co-hosting business, want to launch a co-hosting business, have properties that you have managed by a third party, maybe you're not super excited about their performance. Maybe you're managing yourself, and something has come up in your life where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And you're looking for someone. Listen to the show and listen to Fetty's story and how he's evolved his business. I think you'll learn from that, and definitely reach out to him if
Yeah.
his story resonates with you. One thing that will surprise you about Fede, or surprise you about me, was he is the tallest guy I have met in short-term rentals. So there's a story where we had a mastermind by our friend Jeremy Warden, who's also pretty tall. He's on episode 3 of the podcast. So it was Jeremy, me, John Bianchi, who is a top Airbnb data expert, um, Patrick Switek, who is also a really great co-host, and I'm 6'3". I've almost never been the shortest guy in the group, and I was like on the shorter end of this group. Like,
Yeah.
is being tall advantage in this business?
I think being told is advantage in life, honestly. There's something about being told that you should stand out. I love it. I never complain about being told except when I'm flying coach.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Well, as your business
Yeah.
has grown, I'm sure you're gonna be in a premium economy and business.
Yeah.
Um, it's the red wine. It's the red wine, and it's the Malbec and the Temporino and the steak that you have in
Exactly.
Argentina that
The
gives
the
you
red
that.
wine and the steak.
Well, like, your story really resonated with me, and I'm going to give you a few minutes here and talk about you know how you went from Rosario, Argentina,
hmm
if I remember correctly, and now living.
Cato's from Rosario and I'm from Buenos Aires, but yeah, from
Rosario.
art.
Sorry,
Yeah. No.
I just maybe I remember that from our part. Misremember that, but and now you're living in upstate New York, and you built this great
Yes.
co-hosting business. Walk us through that journey. Your story is really powerful.
Yeah, no, that it's been a crazy ride to get to this point. And it's been challenging, and it took a lot of taking a lot of leap of faith because I grew up with my father telling me go to college and build a career in a company, and you're gonna be fine. Just do that, and that's what the way to go. And that's what I was doing. So basically, you know, I can go really way back, but just to make it short, When I was around 20, my father lost everything on his business, moved to a small town in Argentina, and then I decided to come back to the city. I was 20 years old. I was like, okay, I need to make, I need to build something for myself. Started working like 3 jobs, and then I got a job in a call center at American Airlines in Argentina. And a year after, I got promoted to be a trainer for the call centers and the sales offices around the world. And that was an amazing job. I was traveling around the world, teaching people how to do customer service, teaching people revenue management, which revenue management was created by American Airlines in the 70s. And then that's what we're using in all the travel industry was created by Bob Crumble in the 70s. And I got to suck all of that. So yeah, I was building my career. I'm in Argentina. My contract was in Argentina. I was an Argentina employee for American Airlines. I wanted to take the next step. Basically, in Argentina, my options were limited because it was a small office. So, of course, the next move was to move to headquarters. And basically, my passion was to work with policies and procedures. So, SOP is another part. So, they had a whole department of policies and procedures
that is literally like, sorry, that's literally like being a great property manager is like literally
Exactly.
that. If you like process and procedures, like check, 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 check.
Exactly. And that, no, please. I mean, it's a great point because that's why everything I learned in that job helped me build this business and being good at it. So the thing is that the boss from that department came to Argentina to meet me, to visit the office. We met. She was impressed, and she heard about me, and she was like, "Yeah, I want to bring you to America and work with me in headquarters." And I was like, "Yeah, this is my dream." And when she opened the position, I applied, and turns out because I didn't have a college degree, because I was working, they couldn't get me the H-1B visa, right? And I was like, "No, you can't come." And that shattered my whole life project because it's like, okay, I don't have the attention span to go through college. I mean, I started college 5 times. I did well. I cannot keep up with that. And funny enough, I got diagnosed with ADHD 2 weeks ago, so that's probably the reason why. But anyways, I mean, that was like that was 2019, end of 2019. So
So
I
how
was
many
like,
years? Maybe like so just how many years did you have this stream? Right, you started in working multiple jobs. You got this call center job, then had you
yeah,
fly all over the world. You had this promise of an H-1B in the U.S. resettled in Texas. Like how long how long were you working towards that dream?
that was 10 years.
That,
So
how many years?
10 years.
10
So
years.
10
10
years.
years. Look, and I
That's
just want
something.
to add a point here, right? Like, because for me, it was 10 years in investment banking before I left
Hmm.
to fully focus on this. And, there's this adage where, it's really hard to climb down the mountain. And what that means is, I think for folks that are mid-career like I was, you spent 10 years climbing the corporate ladder. You're in a mid-level, VP, director, senior director, whatever position you are in your organization.
Hmm.
It's really hard to climb down that mountain, right?
Yeah.
It's, you might have to, it might seem like you're admitting failure. There's like a social part to it where people are like, oh, well, maybe this person didn't make it there. So there's a lot of courage and bravery it takes to climb down that mountain because you look ahead and you're like, this isn't the way. And a lot of people can't do that. And they continue to
Yeah.
walk down a path that is not going to serve them long term. But whether for social, personal reasons, they can't come down that mountain. And, only a few can. And not everyone makes it. But I think the one thing people forget is you can always kind of go back up the mountain. Like there's always a way out, right? But like,
Oh yeah,
you don't want to like living life that way, regretting, being unhappy.
man.
For me, it just wasn't the way to live.
I agree. It,
And
it, it was
how maybe
scary.
for you too.
It was scary. I mean, when I sent my so in Argentina, I had to send a telegram to the post office to quit. I don't know how here, but I was
Oh,
trembling when
really?
I went to do that.
Yeah.
And so basically, you know, sometimes it's hard to praise yourself, but I was really good at what I was doing there because I built a career. I used to like I was rubbing shoulders with the VPs and stuff like that because I will meet them like every time I will be traveling and I will come to visit the offices of the operations. I will go have dinner with them. I was awarded that's the largest airline in the world, 120,000 employees, and they gave me an award that they only give to 100 people a year, like the employee of the year. They flew me to Texas to have dinner with the CEO
Oh
and
wow.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was building that career, and they were I was solicited. When they had to train people in an office, they were asked for me to go and do it. So I had a really good relationship with all the managers in every station. So I was building that, but then I had that hard stop, that ceiling of not having a college degree. Was like, yeah, you cannot come here, and I got depressed. I was like, okay, and about the time I started to find people in Twitter and Instagram talking about investing, and that it's kind of like cliche, but the Poor Dad Rich Dad book, that was the first one that I read. I was like, okay, maybe there's something out there, and I always been drive to do all the things all done my 9 to 5. And okay, it's like, well, maybe I need to do something different. That was December 2019, and March 2020 we got COVID. So what happened, and it's hard to leave a job that gives you number one, that you're doing well, and number two, I had the benefits of traveling around the world, because you work in an airline, you get basically free tickets to travel anywhere, and traveling has
Yeah.
always been my passion. So it's like, how do I give up these benefits? It's like I was flying
Wow.
first class wherever I want for $100. It's like, how do you
Nice.
give this away? I say, okay, my goal when I leave this company is at some point to be able to pay business or first class by myself, which I was able to fly a few times, for first or premium economy or business already. But yeah, leaving that was really hard. But the moment I got to leave that is during COVID, my job of traveling around the world doing training changed to be in my bedroom office doing some calls. And that was killing me. Again, I need to be moving. I love being in the classroom and being every month in a different country, in a different office, and teaching a different thing. And now it's like months and months sitting at my desk doing Zoom calls. It
Yeah.
was, it was. I just felt like
It's like going
during a
to
cage.
college. It'd be like going to college, right?
Yeah, no, it's exactly
Stuck in a
that. It was
classroom.
like, oh, it was so hard. And during that time, one of my friends from America living in the US reached out to me and say, "Hey, man, I have some friends that they need help with their short-term rentals. They were doing arbitrage for timeshares, and they have accounts with like 500 visits that will get the inventory from the Walmart timeshares into Airbnb, and so, like, basically arbitraging that."
Yeah.
And I got that and immediately optimized the whole process of updating calendars, pricing, and all of that. And they're impressed. And then this friend was like, "Hey, man, you're good at this. Are you interested in like maybe doing some property management? I want to start doing some arbitrage and stuff like that." And he picked up one unit. We did it together with the just few savings that I had. We went 50-50. We took all 2 units, and then what happens, like, he had two arbitrages. Like, he had to sign a lease through a management company, with the management company being their management, like, it was the condition, and they were really bad. So you mentioned in the beginning about bad management, and basically I started managing as the result of a really bad management and the necessity of doing good management, because I was like, man, there's a way to do this way better than what they're doing. And that's how we started. So I started with a partner. I was managing from Argentina. I was running the operations. He was just doing, the client acquisition and property acquisition. And it was challenging because I was managing properties 5,000 miles away, meaning
Yeah.
that if we have an issue, I cannot run to a property to fix it. So I had to set up a lot of SOPs.
Yeah.
That was the need. I had to set up systems and processes to manage being 5,000 miles away. And we did that. And we grew that company to 70 properties. In the on that process, again, I started that while I was still working my 9 to 5. At some point I was like, okay, I want to fully dedicate to this can replace my income, and I can work on this. So I left America and I started working 100% into short-term rentals, still in Argentina. And then we started the process of
Sorry,
my
Fiddy. So,
visa.
there
Yeah.
was there like a financial part there where like, okay, if I'm making, say you're making, you know,
Pennies. I was
five
making
thousand
pennies
dollars a
in
month,
Argentina.
Yeah, so you're making $5,000 a month in American. Did you have to like what was the number for you to be comfortable to leave
Yeah,
America?
yeah. So this is the thing. Again, I was unemployed for America, but in Argentina, and Argentina was really bad at the time economically. So I was a 10-year employee, mid management, and my salary was $700 a month, and that was a good salary in Argentina. And of course, I was doing way more with the short-term rentals, having a U.S. income. So basically, the year that I stayed in Argentina, making money in US dollars, I was living as a king. I was a king all there for a year. I was like basically rich. Um, but then again, it was like, okay, do we stay comfortable here with a US income, live in Argentina, being a a big fish, what is a big fish in a small tank, or do we take the leap and move to America? Now, of course, moving to America wasn't easy, but I was really lucky. So, Kato, my wife, and my partner, she's been supporting me through all this process. She is Argentinian, but her mom grew up in America, so she was American through her mom. She's American. So we started the visa process for my green card,
Nice.
and that was also painful because it was like normally that process is like, okay, for the visa that I got to do the right, normally the American citizen is living in America and they're trying to bring someone from outside, and that American can support the person coming from Argentina in this case financially, and not being a burden if something happens to the U.S. federal government. But Karen never lived in America. She didn't have tax returns. She didn't have an income in America, so it was kind of challenging. So we had to have a good attorney to set that up to be able to get the visa, and that was like $5,000. Again, I was making $700 a month in my 9 to 5, so that's a lot of money
Yeah,
for me.
that's a lot of
So
money.
all the money that I was getting into from the short-term rentals that I put into the visa. But again, because of COVID, everything was delayed, so it took us 2 years to get my visa approved.
Well, good job you. I mean, I think, good timing for you to get it done now
Yeah.
before and then now, right?
No, I mean we did everything right, so it should have been approved, but it was slow and it was hard.
Yeah.
Like we did everything. Like I had the option to say, hey, people were like, yeah, you can move to America and then adjust your status. Like that. That's not the right way to do it. I want to do it right. So we did it right. Took two
Nice.
years. I remember the day that I went to the embassy, and they gave me the visa. Man, I left that place. I got in my car. I blasted "Living in America" from James Brown. Got to my house and passed out from the stress because I was so stressed about that interview.
Oh
Because that
man.
interview with the council was basically my whole future. All the projects that we were building, everything that we were planning
Yeah.
was getting that visa.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, we got the visa, moved in November, got here, moved to Texas initially, where we have my friends and the operations. I knew people from American, and yeah, continued growing that company. But what happened is I got pretty depressed because when I went to see the properties that with my partner we were getting, they were not the type of properties or neighborhoods I wanted to get,
Yeah.
and I actually
So
got
so
pretty depressed. Yeah,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
let's pause there. Yeah, look, I mean, and I think there's another lesson there, right? Where I mean, you spent a lot, like you said, Rick, you poured a lot of resources to getting to America. And I think that's
Yeah,
where I think for me, like where it really resonated with me too was, I'm an immigrant to the US as well. Today's actually my dad's 80th birthday. My parents are actually here. And then we're gonna go.
amazing.
It's actually it's Lunar New Year too tonight. So it's actually like a
Right,
really important day. And my family is actually living here for next. My parents are staying with me next couple weeks.
nice.
And you know, it's when you have your parents in your house or your family, it's like obviously like it can be sometimes it could like people kind of rub each other the wrong way.
Yeah,
But I always kind of think back to, when you're in my parents moved when they were in their 30s from Taiwan to the US. Like, it's a lot to like move your entire existence from like one country to another. It's like a very brave thing to do, especially if you have kids.
yeah,
It's a very brave thing to do. And I think for you, it's like that's a really brave thing to do to like bet on yourself. Like, there's a better I'm doing great here, but there's like a better future for me. And like I have to take a big risk, right? Obviously you can also go back to Argentina and do it again, right? That road is there, but like you have to like really commit, I think mentally, or I believe you have to commit really mentally, financially to like this is the way. I believe so strongly in myself and my ability and in this opportunity that like this is the way for me to leave everything I've known, you know, to something that there's a lot of uncertainty to. And
Yeah.
you and I have spoken before. I don't think we won't kind of go into the gory details of kind of in Texas, but
Hmm.
you know there's a lesson there where it didn't align perfectly with what you had expected. I think maybe we could frame it that way. It wasn't perfect
Yeah.
the way that you thought. And we just talk about like, okay, you committed a lot of yourself to get to a place where you thought you had something. It wasn't exactly what you thought the opportunity was. And now
Yeah.
you had to make another pivot. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah. That was another, that was the third leap of faith I had to take because first was leaving my 9 to 5, then moving to America, and then starting all over again from scratch. So again, with that property management that we had so many properties. There were different reasons why in that partnership a lot of things were not working. And listen, I appreciate my partner; like he helped me building this and moving to America, and he was extremely supportive for me to get here. So I will always be thankful to him. But at some point, it's like, okay, we do not align in what to do, and I want to do something different. And if we keep continuing this path, it's just gonna clash and everything's gonna go down. So let's stop it here, and I'm gonna leave the company because everything you helped me to build. I'm gonna start again. And we just bought our first investment property with my father-in-law. He was investing in that one, so we were basically launching a new property and moving away from that company I had. And thankfully, I have the support of the Carwells and Sarah. We bonded really well, and she was like, "Listen, if you're gonna start over again, I'm gonna give you my properties, and I'm gonna help you grow." And actually, I posted about that yesterday. It's like, okay, if you help me grow, I'm gonna manage at a discounted rate because you're gonna be selling for me, because you believe in me. And that was basically what was encouraging. But I started again with the first month I had one property to manage, and then the next month I had three properties to manage, and then started growing and growing. And that was in August 23. Again, now we're at 65 properties, good properties, so each property is producing way more income than the properties I used to manage before, and doing it by myself the way I want to do it.
So let's pause
Um,
there. Actually,
yeah,
I think that's I think a couple of lessons to tease in there, right? Like you found some, you found a partner with Sarah and Emily, the Carwells. Definitely follow them if you're on, on Instagram. They're very, very smart investor, short-term rental
yeah,
investors. Sarah's actually going to be on a podcast as well in a few weeks, and I think there's a lesson there. Like there was a cultural alignment between you and Sarah. I think very early on, like we all had dinner when you guys were in New York, and it was a
yeah.
nice, we had a nice dinner. We had drinks afterwards. It was really nice, kind of get everyone together. Um, and maybe just talk about like how that alignment gave you confidence. I think you talked about it a little bit, but just maybe just double click on that a little
Yeah.
bit. How that gave you confidence that like, hey, rebuilding the second, like starting again the second time is going to go a lot faster, a lot smoother because I've learned that like maybe for example property count really doesn't matter in property management. um
Yeah.
you know you want to you want the quality of the units and the quality of the clients are more important. Like
Hmm.
I don't do co-hosting, but I have one client that their houses are worth 2+ million each, and their houses generate a good gross revenue. Like that's a client that's good, and I'm happy to help them, right? But a client that has a house that's worth 600,000 that does 75K a year gross, that's a client that I'm not a good fit for because that's not how I operate my business. So and this is where like maybe let's get a little more tactical for
Yeah.
people here that are listening about like co-hosting. A lot of people, co-hosting is this kind of big topic right now, and it's a great way to kind of scale and get cash flow. So maybe it could be a little more tactical on how you went from one with Sarah, like 22, I think, in 2022.
23. Yeah, 23.
23, sorry.
Yeah.
So in a year, you've grown from 1 to 65. So if you could maybe walk us a little bit along that journey and some of those key decisions that you made that allowed you to have this growth and have you know, let me pause there. I'll let you take it.
Yeah, no, that is great because at the end of the day, I think you need to be intentional on what to do. I noticed that when you're doing things without direction and without a goal, that's when things get really bad, and that's where we were at. Because with the
Yes,
previous
yes,
company,
yes.
we were just like grabbing any property because again, it's like it's grabbing more income, and that was a big mistake. But I want to say something for those who are getting started. If you're getting started and you're gonna manage a one-bedroom apartment that's making $20,000 a year, go ahead for the experience. If you're getting started, if you want to learn because that's the first line you can land, it's fine. Now, on the long term, that may not be your goal. And again, tackling a large property, multi-million-dollar property in the beginning can be more difficult and challenging because you have to have a lot of process and system. You can do it, but I say it's not bad, and you should not only start by saying, "Hey, I want to take my first client is going to be a multi-million-dollar property." You're going to learn a lot of lessons, and the only way to learn is making mistakes, and it's better making a mistake on a property that's making $20,000 a year than a property
Fair
that's
enough.
making
Fair enough.
200,000. So for me, that was helpful starting with those type of properties, but at the same time, the bad properties also are more challenging to manage with all the issues that come with bad guests because they're cheap properties and maintenance issues if they're not well maintained. When it's funny because before I parted ways, I met with my old boss at American, that she was my mentor. She was based in Mexico City, and she used to travel to Texas to go to headquarters, and I was living there. So anytime she would come, I would meet. Person I really appreciate, and she told me a lot of things. And this time I met her, beginning of 23, and I showed her Orange Cadillac, that property that Sarah and Matt did together. And I was like, I'm doing this. I explained, I'm doing this management. This is what I want to manage in the future. This is my goal. And by June, I met with Sarah, and it was like, hey, Fede, I'm ready to, give you. I was managing her units in Texas. She had a few arbitrage holder. She was like, we need to work a way for you to take on Orange Cadillac. It's like, okay, and that's how everything started on
Oh, was
scaling.
Orange Calic was that number one for Blackbird?
Number one from yeah, that was number one for Blackbird. It was
Oh, so
Orange
everyone,
Cadillac.
Blackbird HM, right? .com
Yeah,
is your
correct.
property management website. Go take a
Yes,
look. So, or I
thank you.
didn't know that actually. Orange Cadillac. So Orange Cadillac is a property that um, in Cadillac, Michigan,
Hmm.
that was painted orange. I remember Matt pitched me on the deal, and it's like what was it, like a 5 bedroom.
Yeah, it's a
It's
five-bedroom,
huge property,
huge.
huge, huge. And then yes, I actually didn't know that was your first property. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, that was the first property because everything started with that. Like Sarah, basically what happened is, again, in the previous company I was managing for Sarah, some of her arbitrages, um, and then I really bonded with her. She invited me to the graduation from her first mentorship round in Chicago as a speaker, and that's where we met. And she was like, "Hey, but like, I know you're doing this. I have this property, but this property doesn't align with what you're doing right now. But I would like to figure out a way to give it to you." And that was kind of like the pat in the back that I needed to say, "Hey, I can do this by myself." Right?
Nice.
Because again, it's I needed that confidence, and it's hard for one to say, "Yeah, I'm great at what I do." So if you hear from someone else, it's more validating, right? And I was like, okay, I can definitely do this, but I need to figure out a way. And that's at the same time, what was going on is that again, I was not aligning with my partner, so everything was like kind of like plans aligned for me to say, okay, I can step out of this, take Orange Cadillac, and Sarah helped me grow this, and then taking her full Michigan portfolio. And then in that graduation, I met Skylar and Maddie. They have some projects coming up in upstate New York, and yeah, basically that's how we got rolling.
Yeah, I just that's great, and it's the first time I heard it too. And I know, for folks, short-term rental industry is actually fairly small. A lot of
Hmm.
everyone knows each other and kind of works together. And finding people that you like and resonate with can really help kind of everyone. It's very mutually beneficial. So, two things just to call out there. One is, it was attending the mastermind from the Carwell, Sarah and Emily, so had a really big impact on your business growth. So, I would highly encourage, if you are looking to grow your co-hosting business, arbitrage business, buying short-term rentals, finding a mentorship program, finding a group of people, formally or informally, that are trying to do what you do, right? Everyone got different places in the journey, but there's a cultural alignment. There's like, hey, we all like have a similar belief in what we're trying to do. We all have similar goals because like that really is going to accelerate your progress. Because they're going to know people that are aligned with them. You're going to meet them, and good things happen. So go to conferences. And I was saying, go to conferences, go to meetups, join a mastermind, whether it's informal or formal. Like that is the best way for you to accelerate your progress. You're gonna learn so much more than just endlessly scrolling on YouTube, listening to podcasts like
Yeah.
this, or scrolling on Instagram. Like go and meet the people, develop the relationships. That's how you build your business.
100%. I couldn't agree more. So what I say is like my biggest lesson from that 2023 transition process was your network is your net worth. That's
Yeah.
a common phrase, but it was
It's
real.
cliche, but it's so true though.
Like putting myself in the right rooms and talking to the right people was what helped me to catapult to, you know, achieving my goals on building this company. But again, I had a mission. I had a mission statement. And I had an objective. And I was like, I want to manage unique properties, and unique can look in different ways. It could be design, location, amenities, or a combination of them. But that's what I want. I don't want just like cutty cooker, um, short-term rental. I want good properties. But again, you got to be strategic because the relationships are important. Sometimes I do manage properties that do not fit on my uh, client avatar or property avatar that I want to manage, but I know that that person may have a larger portfolio that are going to hand me over or are going to help grow. So I have a few properties that I would say, normally I wouldn't take on this, but because you are also going to bring in more business, refer me to more people, or you plan to grow and get more properties, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help me. And that also has been huge. It's been helping me getting a long way.
Good. Yeah, no, it's strategic, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like sometimes you have to kiss some like maybe like kiss some frogs like before you get to what you want. Like so you get some. It's okay. It's as long as that frog isn't poisonous, like you're okay. It's okay. Okay. You move on.
Absolutely.
And maybe talk about today, right? Like you live in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you and Carl when we're up there in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about maybe just talk a little bit about your portfolio today. 65, just broadly 12 states, just broadly geographic, just some broad outlines on like kind of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so I'm managing different places. Again, a lot of my growth has been through word of mouth, social media referrals. So, I have people coming from different places with these properties, and so they're meeting these criteria of they're investing in design, amenities, and the guest experience. I can set up the operations. Of course, I want to grow intentionally in a few markets, but I would say so. Michigan and New York are my top markets right now. So
Okay.
especially West Michigan, where the Cardinals are operating, and then here in upstate New York, where Skyler and Maddie are growing as well, and we're growing together. I have properties in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina,
Okay.
um, Tennessee, Ohio.
How do you,
Uh,
I mean, how do you, like I have, I'm, we're 39 properties, mostly in Philadelphia. I mean,
mhm,
realistically in three buildings now in Philly. I have 6 cabins in the Smokies, and we have 1 in upstate, and, we managed a few in the Hamptons. Um, by the way, those are the those are the multi-million
yeah,
dollar and the high 6 figures,
nice.
like I wouldn't look past that, Fetty, if I were you. There's plenty of meat there on the
And
bone,
no,
so it's nice. Just to say it. Um, like I wouldn't do I don't do I don't that's not my business, but if someone has a $3 million house, like I'm happy to manage that for them.
of
Um,
course.
the what was I gonna say? The hardest part is the hardest part, in my opinion, is how do you build the underground team, right? How do
Hmm.
you, the good cleaning staff, maintenance, and then all the trades, right? Like HVAC blows out, plumbing, all the trades. You're managing in a small town upstate New York and all this stuff. How do you deal with it without going crazy?
It's all of building relationships and having a good team. So number one, if I cannot do everything myself, and that's something I learned with the first company. So when I started a new one, I was like from day one, you're gonna have one property and have a team. We call them BAs. I like to call them my team, my customer service reps. I have a manager now. I have like different roles. I have a manager, revenue management manager. But basically, number one is you have to have a team that really understands. They're well trained to understand the U.S. properties. I will say, you come from Taiwan. I come from Argentina. Something that's pretty unique to the US is that the houses are number one cardboard. I always joke that I can punch the wall and make a hole. That doesn't happen in the rest of the world. Normally it's brick and mortar, right? Because the US grew too fast. They need to build houses quickly. But then, I don't know. Again, you're hiring someone from abroad, Philippines, South America. You don't have dishwashers in every house. That's a luxury. You don't have a garbage disposal. There are a lot of things that are different. So, number one, you need to train on how the mechanics of the house function in the US. Number two is building a Rolodex. So when I do a property onboarding, I send a form to my clients like, give me all the contacts that you already have, and anyone you don't have, I'm gonna go and find them and have them in your Rolodex before you need them. Because if you have an AC not working, you don't want to start making calls to see someone's available. You already want to know who's your go-to person first, and then if not, going for backups. For the cleaners, same thing. So something that I do is I have a guide built up that I send to every cleaner that we hire, and it's an expectations guide. So it's like, hey, partner, we're looking forward to working with you. This is our standards. Because what's going to happen is, being spread out, you don't have the leverage of hiring a team that's going to work in 5-10 properties of yours. Because if you're getting so much work, you can leverage and have more control on the quality or the way of doing things. Normally, when you're hiring a cleaner for one property, I'm going to tell you, I work this way and you need to adapt to my way of working because I have more clients. You're not my number one client. So that's why I'm trying to strategically grow in some markets as well, so I have more leverage on the vendors.
That's my biggest issue. It's like it's my way. In Philly, it's my way.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, it's my way. In upstate New York, it's their way.
Their way.
I've won.
Yeah.
It's like that's the best cleaner. And they're like, well, this is what we do. Like, take it or leave it. They don't.
I
I
know.
need them more. They know that I need them more than they need me.
Exactly. And the thing is, I manage a lot of properties in rural areas. Upstate New York and Michigan is like rural. So finding good talent is hard. So something that also you need to work on, setting the expectations with your clients. When they want everything to be perfect with the cleaners, at the end of the day, you need to find a medium. You need to find a good balance. And for me, is if they're not staging something the way that we want every single time, or they're missing small things, but reviews are fast every single time and they're reporting issues, that's something I can live with and it's fine. Again, I like to set up the expectations. It's all about relationships and how you drive the conversation. So I'm going to give you a few examples. We use Turno to schedule in and take photos and all of that. So when I have a call, especially when I'm taking over a property, and this is very common, right? I take a property that an owner's been managing for a year. They're already burnt out of, getting the message from Airbnb. I know exactly how it goes. It's like they get the Airbnb. I tell them, it's like, I know where you're at. You get the Airbnb notification and you're in a fight or flight mode that you don't know if it's going to be a problem. You get triggered by an Airbnb notification. Is that what is happening to you? And they will say yes. Okay, so I'm going to take over your property. You have a cleaner. Are you happy with your cleaner? Yes. Okay, I'm going to take over that management. I'm going to take over the cleaning management. They're not going to be happy about the change because no one is happy about change, and they always get this. Everyone comes with a bias and experience, right? And many times they're going to tell you, oh, whenever I work with a management company, it's been awful. So, okay, I need to know that when I'm going to have that conversation with the cleaner, they're going to have a huge barrier against me taking over the property because I've been happy that things have been going. And I need to bring technology and expectations and processes. So the way that I have that conversation is, okay, number one, have you heard about Turno? No, I don't want to use technology. It's like, well, let me explain. Like, number one, we're not going to have to deal with text messages for every cleaning. So we're going to make sure that you have your schedule far in advance. Every time we have a booking or cancellation or alteration, you're going to have it right away. It's going to help you plan ahead. Something that you like? Yes. Do you know that Turner has a marketplace where you can find new clients? Are you looking to expand your business? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, yeah, you can find new clients. Oh, well, that's interesting. And then photos. Are you taking photos? Well, it's good. I explain, listen, I don't want you to take 100 photos. I'm not going to tell if the floor is clean from looking at a photo. I cannot. And no way that I can tell if a floor is clean from a photo. But I can do is, if I have a photo of the hot tub being clean, and I guess is complaining about that, I can protect your work. And I can save the client from a refund. And that happened to us many times. People checking out and saying the hot tub was dirty, I want a refund, Airbnb allowing the refund, and then having a timestamp photo to journal that it was clean the day before they arrived, and they cancel the refund. And explain all of that, and I was telling them, listen, I'm the property manager. It's basically this is a hub and spoke model where I'm the hub, and my job is to keep everybody happy. Not only the client, not only the guest, also the cleaners. So I want to be happy. What are the challenges so far? What do you need me to help you with? I'm gonna set up a group chat with my team. We're gonna be available 24/7 for everything that you need. You need to call us, text us. We're gonna be available. On top of that, I know we use Turno. We're gonna send you a reminder every morning when we have a checkout, because technology sometimes fails, and I want to make sure that you know what's going on. So we're gonna send you a reminder of the. So instead of the cleaner servicing us, I try to put it where I'm servicing them.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way. Still, we have a lot of issues. It's not perfect. And again, that guy that I have, it explains because, again, they're going to come with their biases. And sometimes they are used to working with not the best host. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're only leaving one roll of toilet paper because my clients tell me to leave only one roll of toilet paper. It's like, no, that's not how we do things here. But if you do not set up the expectations, they're going to think that's the right way to do it because they're saving us money. And for me, it's like, no, that's not saving us money because our reviews are going to be
It's
shitty.
costing money. That's costing me. Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah,
I
that's a
know it's
long
all.
rant on the cleaners.
No, no, no. It's good. I think I think folks. Look, I mean, we're getting deeply tactical, and I just I want to let you talk because like I think people have a misconception that like property manager, like, why am I paying 20%? Right? Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
easy. You just find a cleaner, they clean it. Like, there's so much nuance to. That's why I have a lot of respect for you because it's incredibly operationally complex. Short-term rentals, one, and it has to be perfect, and it has to not only be perfect, it has to be perfect within 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day, and you're managing remotely. It's this orchestra of multiple vendors conducted by offshore staff. So
Yeah.
you literally are orchestrating workflows from thousands of miles away for people who have never worked with each other, have never met each
Mm-hmm.
other, and it all has to be done within 5 hours. And you're getting guests that literally can give you a 1-star review and blow up your entire listing every single time,
Exactly.
or demand a refund. Like, it is a very precise machinery that it takes to operate this at scale.
At scale.
Like, it's hard to do with one. It's actually incredibly difficult to do at one because you can't afford the systems and processes. It's actually a lot
Mm-hmm.
easier to do when you have 10, 25, 30. But it takes a person that really cares about process and can build teams. And I think you have that experience through American Airlines that gave you a really great groundwork to do that.
I know this brings to my mind two things. Number one is like, I think my experience in the airline industry was really good because the airline industry is also highly operational and you cannot mess up because you have an accident. So, coming from that, it's like, okay, things had to go right and you need to have those processes and safety and checks and checklists and stuff to make sure that things go right. I know you like numbers. So I was doing this math the other day. For anyone that is running their one property. So you have one property, and in that one property in 1 year, you may experience one bad guest, one bad review, and one large problem, maintenance problem. With 60 properties, we have the same experience that you live in 1 year every 6 days. So every 6 days, we experience what you experience in one property in a year. So again, it is a lot of issues to deal with. When it comes to hiring a property manager, it's not here myself trying to sell my business. At the end of the day, you need to find someone that works well with you. But what you want to look for is someone that pays by themselves by giving you back your time and also increasing your revenue. Something I always explain because, again, something that I'm very passionate about different things. Hospitality, I love. Operations, I love revenue management. It's something I super love. And I always tell my clients, like, you give me a property, and if there's room to grow, I'm gonna grow it. If you've been operating to the max capacity in your market, I don't know how much you can grow, right? Based on the property that you have. But if your property has the potential to make more money, I'm gonna make more money with your property. Like taking Orange County, for example, I actually use Orange County like as a case study when I do my sales calls because the first quarter of 2024, we doubled the revenue from the first quarter of 2023. So literally double, and I have the screenshot from Price Labs showing that increase.
Uh-huh.
So again, it's a lot of areas. So doing property management, what I'm trying to get with this is that you're wearing so many hats. You're doing people management,
You really
you're
are.
doing operations, revenue management, finance. You're doing so many things. Technology. You need to be somehow good with all these different areas. And if there are areas you're not good at, you definitely need to get the help. And some because at the end of the day, you cannot do everything. And the things that you're good at, also when you're doing so many things, you're going to start to drop the ball. So you want to train good people into doing that. So I brought people that they had the good mindset and the skills, but no idea about revenue management and how to doing things better than how I was doing them, because I fully focused on doing revenue management for my team, for my properties. So that's for me the goal to scale.
That's, I mean, um, I think it's really profound. I mean, if you're, how do you, I'm just gonna, maybe to kind of just continue the conversation. How do you think about growth now as built this like solid base and able to grow revenue and save the people? It's if you can grow, if you increase our revenue, it's you can increase our revenue 20%. You can increase it 10%, and you charge me 20, and you save me 10. So basically, I get back all my time for 10%. Like that's a trade I'll make any single day of the week. By the way, um,
Yeah.
like does that resonate with? Sorry, just like does that resonate with your clients? Like I gotta think that's where like the time back for I'm making more money overall. You spend less time on it. Your ROI is totally there. Like what do you, like? Maybe talk us through that conversation because I think that's where I would think that property managers get their clients is like them making more money, but also give you back your time.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something when I get to any call, sales call about my services, you're gonna deal with two type of clients. So basically, you're gonna deal with two large type of clients. Someone that has no experience with short-term rentals and trying to make their first move into the short-term rental space, and you're gonna have the people who've been self-managing or coming from another property manager with that experience. My favorite client is the one that self-managed for a little bit of time, maybe a year, because they know the struggle and they know the skills and they know what it takes. And they're gonna appreciate everything. And they're gonna give you more room
I
where
know the
things
pain.
go wrong. Because
The
things
pain.
go wrong. I mean, this is an operation, this is service industry operations, and there's disruptions all the time because there's so many things you cannot control. And they're gonna be more understanding because they live that, and they're gonna be thankful that you're handling this professional, right? Someone that is new, they're gonna have the highest expectations about how much money the property should make because everyone comes with an ego, right? It's like this is my property, I set it up, I design it, it should be the best one in the neighborhood. Well, there are other properties, right? Maybe nicer. So that can happen. Also, something goes wrong and they're gonna blow up your phone. It's like, hey, I'm handling this. So you have to educate your clients on that. So that's why I normally prefer working with someone who comes from being burnt out of a bad management company or themselves doing it. And again, the conversation is about I'm gonna show you. What I'm gonna do is um, cover all of this. So in my presentation, I have a pitch, a deck where I go through everything we cover: communication, boots on the ground, revenue management, listing distribution, and SEO. So we cover all of that, and then I show some case studies on again revenue. So when we come to that, is okay. Now I need to show you. So for example, I took over a property for management last week. The owner, he has a 9 to 5. He's always busy, so he was happy to work with us. Some person I built a relationship with a year ago. That's super important. Just building a little bit, is building those relationships, fostering that. I helped him setting up his listings when he launched the property a year ago, because I do some like services for helping people to set up their listings. And then he came back to me and say, "Hey, Fred, now I'm ready for you to manage because I've been doing this. I like it, but I cannot do it, and I know you're a professional." So first day that we managed, we had like multiple issues, and I was able to resolve like this. And the person left, things that maybe if it was not managed correctly, it was going to be a 1-star review. And the person even left. I haven't seen the review yet because she left today, but she left a tip for the cleaners. So that means that she was happy. But things that we did, including like sending warm cookies at night because of apologizing for an issue, the maintenance issue that was existing issue, or fixing something that the owner didn't know how to fix, but we knew from this experience of running the operation of one property every 6 days, we knew how to solve a thing with the stove, right? There was an easy
Yeah.
fix, and maybe he would have sent a handyman and pay $100, but for me, it was just telling them how to troubleshoot it themselves, and they fix it in a minute. So
Yep.
those are the type of things that your property manager should be doing.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Turning, the warm cookies is a great. That's a great
Yeah,
strategy. And I mean, there's so much nuance in this, and I think hopefully, like everyone, if you're listening, you're getting a taste of. It's not undoable. Like if you have the goal of self-managing yourself or building a property management business, like there's definitely a path to do it well. It's just there's a lot to it to like fully commit to it, get into the right rooms, learn from the right people. Fetty's a great person to learn from. I learned from him. Thank you for so just an example. Ting, which is actually pretty cool. It's a sensor that measures the electrical health of your house. And yeah, no, that's a great. We use it for all our properties now. So thank you
amazing,
for that. That was a tip
of course.
that I have for Federico. Thankfully, everything is working great. So it's a peace of mind that like nothing blows up.
Yeah,
So like there's just things that like you don't know. You like I call it the unknown unknowns. Like you don't know what you don't know, and you're just around
exactly.
people that like are smart and like do things that are going to be relevant for you. Like you just learn from each other. Like, oh hey, like I found this thing. Oh, it's really cool. Or, like today I showed Federico something cool technology thing that I saw that I was like, oh, this is really cool. You should check
Yeah,
it out. It's like, oh, okay, let me test it out. And this is what's going to compound your journey, make it fun. Thank you for and Federico was actually really nice and took out me and Liz after we finished our house in the Catskills. Him and his wife took us out for dinner, and that was very and our daughter actually out for dinner, so that was very
yeah,
nice. So I just want to kind of show and thank you again for that. That was very
of
very
course.
very kind of you.
My pleasure.
These are the things that make the journey more fun and like it's not just about making money, right? It's like the relationships along the way are critical to your business like longevity and your happiness.
This is a people
I
business. Uh,
It's a people business.
it's. I think at the end of the day,
Business is a people business. Just
business is
business
a
is
people
people.
business, and this particular business, I will say two things. I tell this to my team all the time: to not to lose the focus, because it's so easy to lose the focus on number of properties, revenue, numbers, operation, SOPs, and stuff like that. There are two factors that are huge when you're a property manager, and I want everyone who's gonna jump into property management, I want you to keep this in mind. Number one, your client is going to be trusting you with one of the most expensive assets they're going to ever buy. Because unless you're buying a private jet or a very, very large yacht, a house is normally the most expensive thing that someone's going to buy in their life. And they're trusting you that. Maybe it's their retirement money, maybe, it's their life saving. So that's a huge responsibility. So they're trusting you with that. Your guest is trusting you with the most valuable thing a person has in their entire life, which is time. Because no one is going to give you back your time. And if you mess up someone's vacations, a special moment, the 1 week of vacation they've been planning for a year, that's a huge responsibility as well. So we're a people business, and the same way that we care about our clients and our guests, I personally care about my community and my people, because I couldn't have gotten here by myself. I got the support from everybody. People invited me to the podcast like you're doing now, and giving me more exposure, and giving me a platform to speak. That's been incredible. So for me, again, yeah, you can go to YouTube, watch videos, but once you start building those relationships and caring about the people, that is what makes a difference, in my opinion.
That's a much difference. And you actually took my traditional closing question, and I appreciate the time you're spending with me today. I was asked, business is a team sport, and so many people along the way that has helped us. What's one of the kindest things that someone has done for you? What's the kindest thing that someone has done for you along this journey that you that's made an impact on you?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, and there were a lot of people who helped me in my journey. But again, I think that the people who had the most impact in my life, it's been the Carlos and Sarah. She, because I was managing for her, Emily didn't have property by the time. She was the one that basically got me under her wing and trust me. She was coming from being burned from another management company and different
Yeah.
experiences. So that's something I always, just to give her, my praises. She had to deal with a lot of people disappointing her, but she never stops trusting in people, and she never stopped trusting me. And I always told her, it's like, listen, it's my goal and mission to make sure that that I always be supporting you, and I always be thankful for everything you've done for me. So yeah,
Well, shout out to Sarah, who'll be on the podcast in
yeah,
a few weeks. She's amazing, and I was introduced to her by Jeremy Warden, and that I can meet you guys. Like, I think everyone kind of has, like, there's like different tribes within short-term rentals, but getting to know you guys and
yeah.
seeing the work that you've done, and I'd love to do more together. And I look
And to
forward
make that
to
happen.
continue to grow, to grow the relationship with you. For folks that are interested in learning from you, potentially looking for property management, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm also on Instagram. My handle is SDR Guide. So you can shoot me a DM over there, follow me. I was mentioning to you before we started that I've been slow in posting the last couple of months because
You gotta post, man.
I know I've been working so much in the business with all the PMS migration and implementing new systems and stuff that I've been just heads down working on the computer. But I need to get out there because it's also been super rewarding when I go out there and put some content and people, truly appreciate it. I know I'm helping people, and I'm also learning from other people by, their comments and stuff like that. Again, it's just one closing comment I wanted to mention before I forgot is, you listen to us and you say, oh, these people have everything figured out. I messed up so many times. You get here only by making mistakes, by trusting yourself, and don't getting disappointed. If there's people who are resilient, are short rental operators. I know so many people that the first property got, like Sarah got her first property totally rough, everything, like literally even the artwork from the walls. Skylar and
Yeah.
Maddie, their first property on the first day flash flooded in Big Bear. I know so many people who have those crazy stories, and a lot of people quit. A lot of people say, "Okay, I'm done." I made mistakes, and I had to face it with my clients. I changed. I was trying to change a minimum stay for a holiday to 3 days, and I put a $3 rate by mistake, and I got someone booking that. So we make mistakes. That happened a long time ago. But again, it's like I need to keep going. I need to build systems and be better and face the problems, and that's how you grow in this industry.
Just never, yeah. Just don't, like, don't quit. Don't quit. And
Exactly.
you will, if you believe, just like, like you obviously had some challenges, a lot of challenges, and taking a lot of personal risks, and just like personally too, this definitely was not a straight line up, right? We had a lot of challenges along the way. We still continue to, with when COVID hit New York, we had a portfolio in New York that,
Right.
everything shut down. We had to pivot to Philadelphia, to, the Philadelphia clientele, to, managing the properties in the Smokies. Just like there's always challenges. I think just the lesson that the common denominator I see in successful entrepreneurs is like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
I if this is the biggest problem I'm going to deal with, I kind of think of it this way. It's like, if this is my biggest problem today, I'm lucky, because like this is something that I can solve. Like, I want problems that, like when there's problems I can't solve, that's like when I'm more I'll get worried. But like, there's always a solution here, and if you
Hmm.
believe and trust in yourself, you built a good team, you have experience, like you'll get there. Like,
Yeah.
just don't quit. Just don't quit. Don't quit.
100%.
You can't fail. You can't fail if you quit. I mean, you can't fail if you're not quit, right? And you immediately fail once you quit. You just that's the last position that you'll be in. And
Yeah.
so,
But that's a way
hey,
to learn.
don't keep posting. I love your posts. I get a lot of value from them.
Thank you.
Folks, it's going to be in the show notes. STR Guide, STRGUIDE on Instagram. Definitely give Fede a follow and learn from him. We all learn from each other. And everyone, I hope if you're listening here, you've enjoyed this episode. STR like the best. We had this podcast. We always have the leading short-term rental operators and investors within the space to better help invest your time and your money. And time is the most precious thing. You never get that back. You can always make more money. And what you'll learn from like today's episode is someone's personal journey moving from a different country to the US, something that wasn't that he moved for something that he thought might work, but it didn't end up working the way that he expected it to. He had the courage to go and start again, build new relationships, and now has grown this amazing business with him and his wife. And if you joined us, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you thought about the show. Fede, thank you again. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, but
Perfect. Okay, stop here. Let it finish uploading. Let's let it finish uploading.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, no, it's great. No, I love. No, it's great. We're not recording. We're off camera now. No, that was great. That was. We went. Usually it's like 40 minutes. I didn't tell you. Usually 40 minutes. We went way past. So that's why I was like trying to kind of like put it down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's great. Like I wanted. I just think your personal story is so compelling. There's so many things we didn't hit, but I just thought that was like really compelling, and then